All right. Well, we want to say thank y'all for coming out. This is our part two of our panel discussion to come to the Black Vote with the upcoming election coming this November. We decided as the Black Enlightenment app to come out and talk to Black voters to get their perspective about the Black vote, the importance of it, and their perspective on their particular party. I'm Warren Thornton, by the way. We're going to start off with our great esteemed panel here from the great city of Dallas, Texas. Allow them to introduce themselves and then we're gonna go into our discussion and questions. So I'll start here with you, Gregory.
I'm Gregory Demas, born and raised here in Dallas, Texas. Right, Texas Southern.
Anthony Warren, born and raised here in Dallas, Texas. All you need is name and
and I forgot to ask, how long you been a Democrat?
I've been a Democrat for all my life.
Yeah, as long as I've been voting Democrat.
Hi, Zandra Mendenhall, born in Houston, now residing in Dallas. And I have been a Democrat since I started voting when I turned 18.
Eric Johnson, Brooklyn, New York. Been a Democrat since I've been voting, since the age of, 18. Quite a while.
Okay.
Lifelong Democrat.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's start off with the discussion. This is an open and honest, respectful discussion and engaging. So definitely love your honest feedback. First, to get things off, what were your thoughts with the change from Biden to Kamala when things transitioned the way it did? I'm sorry, Kamala. Kamala. Thank you for correcting.
Well, I was scared. I really was. I felt like it was too late in the game for us to change quarterbacks, and I felt like, can we really do it? But I am surprised what the outcome has been, and I'm on her wagon all the way.
I was a bit concerned in the beginning with the feeling that Democrats, more established Democrats or middle of the road Democrats, would feel that they didn't really have a chance to have a choice, or maybe the vetting process wasn't as thorough as it usually is. But I'm excited and seeing the response from other Democrats, men, women, all ethnic groups. I'm excited to see the excitement that she's brought to the election.
I guess I wasn't surprised with kind of the climate that we're in. Also, speaking to a lot of younger voters, our millennials, and any some of the early Gen Zers, they're feeling worse that they are not being included in the process. And I agree with our other panelists. There was that apprehension from a lot of people because of not being able to vet someone or having their say so, and feeling like, oh, we're just going to do this anyway without speaking to the people who vote, the party. But truly excited, and I think it was a good choice.
Yeah.
It's where we needed to go.
No doubt I was apprehensive, I'm not going to lie. Only because of the fact that wasn't very confident that Biden would have done well ultimately. That there had to be a change. And there was going to be a change. I thought that Kamala was the likely choice. So I'm excited about the fact that she did step up. And I'm excited about the how the state can turn out. Because I think this is a consequential election, and she's the person to make the change right now, to make the difference. I'm excited.
So talk about, from your perspective, the importance of the Black vote, because that's always something that comes into play for every presidential election. The importance of the Black vote and getting the Black vote. So kind of talk towards that, of the importance of it and the pride that you feel of when you go into the ballot box to write down your selection for the president of the United States.
We all know that the Black vote put Biden in office. So we really need to understand how important our vote is. We tend to, as a people, we kind of like downgrade our vote and the importance of, we truly need to step up. As we're seeing Kamala stepping up, we all need to step up. Seeing how we've gone as soon as we announced that Kamala was running for president. All the Zoom calls came out. Black women,
Yeah.
black men, white women, millennials. So think about our vote. It is truly important, and our vote is so important. One thing that comes to mind is people died for us to vote. So we really need to hone in on that, like how important it is for us to get the ballot.
Anybody else like to add to that?
Well, let me just say, just exercising the right to vote should be, in my mind, one of the main focuses. Because with anything without exercise, kind of a complacency can creep in, and then you begin to take things for granted. Now, on the other hand, I think it's important. I'm always one that kind of like to proceed with caution. So when the change was made and Harris was the nominee, I was concerned, and the reason I say that is I don't want our vote to be taken for granted. Like, taxation without representation.
Yep.
Right.
It's the old school saying.
Yeah. So I don't want that to be taken for granted, because just on this panel before we finish, I believe the audience will understand how important the black vote is, and a lot of the Democratic nominees wouldn't have made it in without the black vote, and they know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they know that. With that being said, if there are agendas and there are issues and there are things that we want addressed and we can no longer wait for them to be addressed, then we have to put that forward and carry the weight of the vote to back us up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let me
Yeah,
just not
please,
to cut
please.
you off,
Yeah,
because
please.
you just said something that, and I know an earlier point you said about millennials,
Mhm.
to be very transparent,
Mhm.
since we
Mhm.
family now,
Yeah.
because y'all family now, so you might as well just.
Yeah.
A lot of my age group, because I'm millennial,
Mhm.
think that sometimes the Democratic Party may take our vote for granted and not reply back to our responses of what we feel should be done from a policy perspective. So what can you say to that to get those young voters to still go and vote for VP Harris in November?
Okay, let me add one more thing on to what you said. Not respect our vote or not address our issues. And the last little caveat I want to put in there, in a timely manner.
Okay.
In a timely manner. See, we don't have generations to wait for this to happen.
Mhm.
Now, your group, the millennials, one of the things when I used to teach school that these are junior high kids, and this is back in the 90s. The kids would say, well, whatever you do, Mr. Warren, just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
I just want total transparency. Just tell me what it is. I don't care how bad it is. Just lay it out here and then tell me all of it so I can deal with it, right? If we are, addressing the Democratic Party, a lot of blacks and minority voters have dedicated their vote to the Democratic Party. There are certain issues that when we bring them forward, we want them addressed in a timely manner. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, Obama couldn't do that. He couldn't come outright and say, I'm doing this for black people. Well, some of the millennials will say to me, well, that's funny, because you can come out with and you've heard it,
Yep.
Asian hate crime bill. You
Yep.
can come out with a Native American. And if it doesn't make it through Congress or through the Senate, guess what? Trump or Bush, they just go to the executive order.
Yeah.
And they override
First
everybody.
First 100 days.
Right, and let the next party or the next
Deal with it.
opposing party deal with it or try to rescind it or whatever. But they will take the action of the executive order. So that's what we have to address. We're in our 50s now, all right? We're in our 50s now. So you millennials, I don't really think you have the patience like
We don't.
have. Yeah, you don't have the patience that we had to wait that long. So the Democratic Party needs to be put on notice that for the vote, action is required. I'll leave it at that. I've talked a lot, but action is required.
That's
Yeah,
it. It's about moving quickly.
Mhm.
And the expectation is that, as this millennial group coming in, we are the Gen Xers. last part of baby boomer, but we're Gen Xers.
Yeah.
And so we need you guys to push it forward. We need you guys to be extremely vocal. Think about now think about what we do in this city.
Yeah.
Speaking to our council members.
Yeah.
We put them on notice. And that is the expectation. So going into this voting for VP Harris, we have to put her on notice. The things that she says she's willing to do 1, 2, and 3 as soon as she's in office, we have to ensure, we have to, put our feet to the fire.
Mhm.
This is what we need you to do. So this is where we have to go. We cannot be complacent.
Yeah.
We can't be patient anymore. It's time to do the things that is going to put, communities where they need to.
Yeah.
We see what's happening. We know where we are sitting right now.
Yeah.
We are in South Dallas.
Yeah.
And we know what needs to happen here.
Yeah.
So that other communities can piggyback on those.
Any other feedback on
I
that?
just think that's, politics, like anything else, it's very confrontational.
Mhm.
It's a very adversarial type of situation. So there's
Mhm.
always going to be Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, all of that. So it really comes down to being able to mediate and compromise.
Mhm.
And sometimes during the compromise process, that takes time. That's why millennials, I could appreciate, respect y'all, I love y'all, but understanding how long it took us just to get to this point. Okay. Kamala Harris she's new on the scene, but this thing started back, as far as I'm concerned, back in Brooklyn when I saw Shirley Chisholm as
Yeah.
a congresswoman, vie for the presidency back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it took that from that point to now to get to where we actually have a Black woman vying for the highest political position in the country.
Word.
That took time. So all I can say to my millennial brothers and sisters is that it may require still some more patience, but we made tremendous, progress during this period of time.
Mhm.
So, but again, there's still a lot more that's got to be done, and that's what I agree.
But I just don't think that, excuse my terminology, but I don't think these babies can.
Oh, you fine.
Yeah, I don't believe these babies. It seems like it's something that was born in them not to
To wait.
as
No.
if time is running out. I don't know what that
Right.
means.
Yeah.
I'm in my
It's-
50s.
I
don't know
can,
what
I
it
can,
means.
I can,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
speak to that because I am
Yeah,
millennial.
please.
It's not that we don't understand the process. It's just, I'm gonna use this analogy.
Mhm.
Say, for instance, that you're my grandfather, and we all have the same financial advisor.
Mhm.
And this same financial advisor lives in the neighborhood. he's a financial advisor for everybody in the neighborhood. And everybody in the neighborhood, he's taken care of, he or she has taken care of. When he manages their portfolio grows. But when I look at you, your portfolio hasn't grown. It's been stagnant. When I look at my father's, your son, their portfolio has been stagnant. And I get to me, I'm like, well, hold on. If I see that this financial advisor, who's the financial advisor for the neighborhood, has been making sure that everybody else's portfolio grows, when it comes to me, why do I have to wait another time? And the famous words of James
Yeah.
Baldwin, he said, how long do I have to wait? Because y'all been telling my grandfather to wait. Y'all been telling my dad to wait, my aunt, my uncle. I can't be patient anymore. It's time to act. We have to act now. So that's because we are a microwave generation. I'm not going. We want it right now. And sometimes that's good, but I have to be honest, sometimes that's bad.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to our elders, they are more of an urban generation because they understand that things take time. But we're looking at it from a perspective of if our tax dollars are paying these politicians
Mhm.
because they work for us,
Right.
and I think we have to get back to the mindset instead of them looking at it as we work for them,
Right.
then we should ask for something now. But let's,
I agree.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're right. It's a sense of
No, sure,
urgency.
yeah.
it's a sense of urgency.
And
Yeah.
I think, you guys you're in you have a perfect platform for that sense of urgency. Like we need to push forward.
Yeah.
So thinking about how when civil rights, no one was sitting.
Yeah.
They just
Mhm,
acted.
mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah,
They acted. So it's
Right.
just a sense of
Urgency
urgency
can
now. And I think, millennials see it, but also we all see it. Like, okay, it's time to keep moving forward.
Right.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be into a political environment. And one thing I try to tell my daughter today, don't just go vote, get involved. Even from the neighborhood association, I want you to get in there to where you can take my seat if you wanted to. The problem that we have as far as African Americans, I'm a big fan of Ebenezer Johnson and John Wiley Price, but I think they rode that train too long. I'm going back for the council. Commissioner Price, I think years ago should have grabbed a young man and escorted him through here to where, in about 8 years ago, it's time for you to take over this. And I think as we get to be in these offices and positions, we should grab other young African American women and male to mold them to take over these positions.
So they can be ready.
Yeah, ain't nobody exposing them to it.
Yeah.
I agree. There's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
too. We have a problem with plan of succession, whether it's politics, the churches, businesses, civil rights organizations. We're not really preparing the next generation for what's got to take place.
That's a good point.
And
And
that's
it's
on
good
us.
to hear.
That's
'cause
on us.
Our friends, I had discussion with them, and that's one thing we always say: there's nobody want to pass the torch anymore.
Yeah, right. They don't.
Could
They
you
don't.
could you drill down a little bit deeper as to why that is? Is it
I
a
think
relinquishment of power?
it may be a
or-
power thing. It might be just the fact. It can't be because we don't think this generation is ready. Because
Oh yeah,
no doubt they're ready.
they ready.
Mhm.
But I think it's us. It's us not wanting to relinquish that power.
Do,
Okay.
do you think we maybe have a little bit of trust issues because they are younger?
I
that
think
be
it's
it?
personal.
I think a little bit.
It might be.
It
might be a little bit
it
trust.
might be.
because
It
because
might be.
sometimes I had discussion with my parents. Sometimes that our elders forget that they were young,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna make mistakes.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on the reparations? And I know from because looking at the issues, to be transparent, looking at VP Harris' issues on her website, it's not really a selling point, and it's for Trump, it's not a selling point. One of the presidential candidates that do have it as a selling point is Jill Stein, who's running for the Green Party.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on the reparations? Do you want the Democrats to be out more and focus with and bold with it? And most importantly, the main question: do you think we will receive it?
Wow, that's interesting.
Whew, I know it's got to take a deep
That's
breath on
interesting.
that one.
Yeah, it's deep.
That's been an issue for a long time.
Yep.
All right, a long time.
Yeah.
And even when Barack was in the position where he could have done something, whether it be by executive order or even just taking the initiative on it, couldn't do it for political reasons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So politics definitely comes into play. So I personally, I don't know if that's going to ever happen.
Okay.
You know, but then again, I didn't think that we would ever see an African American president. That happened, and now we have a woman, black female, running. So anything is possible. I'm not sure if she can make that a policy and then pursue it without getting some pushback
Mhm.
within even the Democratic Party.
Could be.
Okay, we know she's going to get opposition probably from the Republicans,
Mhm.
but from the Democrat, that may be a tough sell.
Yeah.
Internally.
Well, right now
I
they
don't know.
and God rest her soul, Congressman Sheila Jackson.
Jay Jackson,
She had a committee putting together for a study,
right,
and of course, in California, they was almost at the finish line of passing it.
Yeah.
But
right.
Governor Newsom just kind of shot it down,
shot it down?
in a sense. Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
shot it down,
Yeah.
and there's other reasons why he
Right.
shot it down.
It is another
So
reason why.
Yeah.
whether it's going to be a local thing,
Mhm.
and then that comes down to, if it comes down to the blue state, red state, then some people that are living, African Americans living here, we may not get it. Let's say if it did come down to a thing where the state governments were
Yeah,
able to
decide on it.
decide on it. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't think we will get it. I'm right now 40 acres and a Cadillac, so there ain't gonna be no mule.
Right.
But I don't think it's enough to, bankrupt the country if they gave us financial money, physically, actually put money in our hands. I think it would benefit African Americans if they reduce the cost of an education.
There you go.
It's ridiculous what it costs to just go get a bachelor's degree in arts and science, something simple. And we see kids today. I see so many people flipping burgers that got bachelor's degrees, and you done paid $60,000 for a degree.
Yeah.
And this is through public education. I'm talking about Texas A&M and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Schools that's ran by the state of Texas and stuff. And that should be something in there for that. But actually physically giving us just actually financial benefits from it, no. they're gonna have to give us something like that, or even property tax reduction. I'll take that.
Tax reduction.
There's other,
Tax
yeah,
reduction.
I'm sure there's ways that they might be able to do it, but
Yeah.
just out, like you said, the 40 acres of the mule.
Yeah.
That
That's
ain't
all.
happening.
And they
Yeah.
happen.
Ain't enough more acres to give it to all.
So what do you say to those voters who see all of the money the reparations being paid to other
Like the
ethnicities or
Japanese and all.
yeah, like how the Japanese community got their reparations in '89, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from Reagan,
Right.
from what happened with the encampment. So when voters see that, what is your feedback to them? Say, well, it's happened to other groups, or how we're sending money to other countries when the backbone of the wealth
Yeah.
in this country came from our forefathers.
It did, definitely.
Because
Sure
what
did.
slavery made this country
They built it.
and built it. And to this day, people are still reaping the benefits of it.
And we're still dealing with that situation as you even look on politics right now. This whole blue red state thing, this whole what the Republicans are talking about,
Mm-hmm.
they're still fighting this civil war.
Sure.
Still to this day.
To this day.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah, maybe that's an issue that's got to be revisited. And if anyone's going to push it, it would probably be someone like Kamala.
Well, now, first and foremost, I try to frame discussions when I look at them and try to look at it in a logical sense. So, first and foremost, I do understand that the president is, basically nothing more than a broker for the country. He has the power, or she has the power that is allowed, right? Mainly a broker for the country. So, if there's a stalemate on something, or if there's a loggerhead, you'll see that the vice president will make the deciding vote to break it. On the reparations front, I think the voters or the population of America is caught up thinking that reparation money comes directly out of my pocket, and I had nothing to do with slavery. So it's a tough argument to sell, but I think with different initiatives that Mr. Demas is talking about, maybe reduction in taxes, reduction in education, that could promote financial growth within the Black community, but you still have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
That may be the closest we'll come to it, but out and out a check, I don't
Cash
see it.
payment.
I
And,
don't
it,
see
and
it.
I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be a check. Think about anything. We have all these different committees who we're able to send money to this country, send money here.
Yeah, we bring. We're not giving
You
them
know, we're giving away money. So why couldn't we do the same thing for African American population? Is it a physical check, or what programs could we utilize to enhance the lives of African Americans?
It's probably
To build that infrastructure, like you said, because it's needed.
It is needed.
Yeah.
To throw some major
Like
schools.
you think about these. I was thinking about it today, and just watching college games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at HBCUs
Yes.
versus
PWIs.
our yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's that same type of thing. Donorship,
Yeah.
sponsorships. Why couldn't we do?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have some sort of reparation? I mean, we have the committees set out. We could do the same thing. We could figure out something to be able to assist with the lives of African Americans. Because, like you said, we are the backbone of this country. We built this country. And let's, as Kamala Harris says, let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
that's true.
Yep. So just got a few more questions. And one, like I was saying, from CNN to MSNBC and other news networks, the polling is showing, they break down the demographics of who's voting for who and by age group and everything. And one thing that has grown since 2020 when Biden ran against Trump is Trump's supposedly growth in voters amongst Black men. So just an honest opinion, what are your thoughts on that? And before you piggy on and give me your thoughts, let me just share this. Former Congressman Nina Turner in Ohio, I went on to a Breakfast Club. That's a famous radio outlet in New York that a lot of people go on to talk. And one thing that she's mentioned within the Democratic Party is sometimes they may emasculate Black men, and that's why Black men are moving away from the Democratic Party.
That's very
So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's true? And then also, what are your thoughts on from these leads that's showing that some Black men are converting over and voting for Trump?
Well, I guess if as far as African American men, now Kamala had a problem to where back in the day when she was the prosecutor in California, and she was sentencing guys that, based on what I've researched, these were repeated offenders. And to me, if you done stole 2 cars or 10 cars, you need a butt whooping. So I'm not against her doing the hard penalty against repeated offenders. She was one of the most forgiving type prosecutors if it was your first offense. As a matter of fact, she threw out a lot of those during times. So I don't know if that's the kind of feedback we're getting because she was a tough prosecutor.
You can't demonize her for doing her job.
I agree. You
Right.
can't.
And that's the
Right.
thing. And then there was a lot of misinformation.
True.
Not even
Absolutely.
just lies, just flat out lies.
Yeah.
And then we didn't do the research. We have
Yeah.
to start doing the research,
But
getting the correct information.
Yeah.
Look,
Exactly.
sorry, Greg.
No, please. We all get yeah. I mean, I think to me, if you doing that, that's just like you said, misrepresentation and being misled. To me, I'm not totally against Republicans. I play golf. I have some that's friends and everything. Donald Trump is not the right fit. That's what I'm against.
right, I agree. But I think the point that you raised, and I think it's very important, misogyny. Men have a problem of sometimes, I'm not going to say submitting to the authority of a woman, but just seeing a woman in that position of authority and power. I think some men are uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, could be.
So as a result, there's going to be some pushback. Some men will take it to the extreme. I'm not going to vote for her because she's a woman. Even
Vote for
though,
racist.
right. So it's what I'm saying. This is a binary choice in this election. We all know that. So, I mean, I can't understand why a man would consider Trump a Republican. If it was another Republican, you might want to consider that. But the position that this man has taken is just a man. I'm not quite clear why certain men would gravitate towards that type of selection. Like I said, I think it's just a binary choice this time around. Either Trump or Kamala.
But why would
Kamala,
you have
man
trouble?
or this woman. So
I've
I
been-
choose this woman. My take on that. I mean, I just think sometimes men just have a position, have the.
Well,
with that.
let me say this before I go into the men part. There are a lot of women that don't want to see
Another one.
the White House. So, when the choice was made, or when the decision was made to put Harris as the nominee, okay, there was that initial excitement, okay, but then the concern came in because, I would have gave you all the money I had when I went to bed on election night when Hillary was running. That Hillary was going to win.
Yep.
Okay. So my immediate thing turned to concern on, like, have we checked all the boxes? Is everybody on board? And then you started to see these KPIs, these key
Right.
point indicators from
Right.
Black men, from Gen X women, Hispanic women. Hispanic women not really big on women being in charge. They need strong men.
From a
in
cultural
charge.
standpoint.
From a cultural standpoint.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable. They see women as temperamental, and she'll maybe make the wrong decision. But wait a minute, I told you before that they're just brokers. They don't go in there and just willy-nilly make decisions and all that. They got cabinets. They have to vet all
Right.
these decisions that you think you want to make.
Right.
That's why the other choice is not the same choice
Mhm.
with Trump. This guy will not take CIA briefings. This guy will not. He won't read.
No,
Okay.
you won't.
All right. So, but still, there's the image of a man there, supposedly strong and all of this. But with Black men, let me bring it back to Black men. Black men, I think, at this point, especially us, we're tired.
Mhm.
Tired of going around the same circles again, and there's nothing major popping out that's happening, nothing major happening for my community. And you can't tell me that we don't have smart people or people that are able to do things, but with the boosters and the donations, we don't have that access. We don't have access to that. So is it systemic racism that's holding us back? Is it the system that people are tired of? So your biggest problem with black men probably won't be black men voting for Trump. It will probably be black men choosing not to vote
Yeah,
this
that's
cycle
my-
because I'm tired.
That is a good
Okay.
point because
Yeah.
a lot of people are to this point to where they are so upset because, like you said, that was a great point you just made.
Yeah.
Because I have these discussions all the times, and people just they're tired.
But we're gonna be upset and not do anything, and
Can't
then
get that
where
complacent,
will this
right.
country go?
Well, let me
Like you
ju-
think about that, we cannot be complacent, and we cannot
Can't
worry
afford it.
and be concerned if there's a woman
Right.
who can literally be the leader of our country.
Mhm.
We've had all these men all this time.
But
Right,
I,
right.
But I don't-
So what's the point in gender? I guess
it's,
this is what my
it, so
point is.
to,
It shouldn't be an issue
it's-
of gender.
you're right. It's not for most men, and I know it's a general saying. I'm saying this.
Yeah.
It's not the misogyny aspect because she's qualified.
Absolutely.
Being
She's
here.
qualified.
She's
I
young.
know.
Right, so
I
I-
totally agree.
so
Totally agree.
that-
But I'm just
that's-
talking about men.
You talking
By
about
certain
that?
men.
Yeah, certain men. That's like
Yeah.
2-3%. We
Right.
ain't worried
But
about
the
that.
issue of
But-
black
but-
men voting for Trump, I guess I don't I don't see it. Like I don't see where there is that attraction.
Mhm.
And what are you gonna get out of it? Like what is it going to do for you?
Just to piggyback off of that, a lot of it is since we've been on this trend.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
A lot of it
Tim
is
Scott, for example.
Tim Scott. A lot of it is
Okay.
money, and that's
but
what
the
it
And
is.
people,
access-
but listen,
yeah.
some of the people that they're polling,
Mhm.
you don't have money to begin with.
But it's
So the people you're polling,
Uh-huh.
even like you think about the typical Trump voter,
Yeah,
like you voting against your interests already.
Yeah.
Like to vote for him anyway.
yeah.
And their
You
mindset
know?
is that when even though they may not have the money to get the benefits of a Trump administration, they're looking at it as if things were better from a spending standpoint while Trump was in office.
I never understood that.
From inflation to the
I
grocery
think it's all
bill.
perception.
COVID.
It's all
It's
perception.
all-
I look at
thank you.
COVID. Once you look at COVID,
Before
his presidency
COVID,
was a total failure. I think. Still.
but before COVID though,
yeah.
to be that spending,
in
and this is what I've
Right,
been shared with me.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
reaped what Barack left.
Oh,
That's
there
that's
you
go.
what it was.
And
And
that
that's
may
it.
be the case, but we have to be honest about it and say, even though he may
It was
read
under his
it,
administration.
it's under his administration.
Yeah, I see what
And
you're
so,
saying, yeah.
because during the
But he
day,
didn't improve it.
He didn't improve it.
And that's the thing,
He
like
kept it stagnant.
you keep it stagnant. So
Yep.
you're reaping the benefit from President Obama's administration. But you kept it stagnant. And then COVID hits. What did you do? Absolutely
Yeah,
nothing.
he just totally
Didn't the deficit go up? What, 1.2 trillion?
Absolutely
Oh, yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
So we
Yeah, a lot of
had
money
to
spent.
depend on, Congress,
Mhm.
who assisted in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Who necessarily was not of a more conservative background at the time.
okay, so I always like to end this on a positive note.
Mhm.
And instead of us always talking about the problems, because sometimes I think we focus on that too
Yeah.
much,
Mhm.
let's start talking about solutions. So just around from what you're seeing, from your perspective, from your experience and your glance, what are some solutions that we can do, all of us, whether it's your Green Party, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, whatever? What are some things that you think, some solutions that can happen from a voter perspective that we can do to change the outcome in our community? Because like you said, we are in South Dallas. If you go and look in our communities, we don't have those major institutions that's needed, like our own banks, our own grocery stores, our own schools, things that circulate that dollar when you're spending and exchanging that's needed to grow your community. So from your perspective, what are some of those solutions that you feel that is needed that would help bring us on the right path to where when our kids grow and our young kids grow, it can be different from what they are now?
I think we have to start like we're doing now. It's got to be a dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got a tremendous amount of resources just right here, just amongst people sitting at this table. Information, dialogue. We have to be able to sit down and talk and compromise, and then come up with plans to deal with certain problems in the community or certain issues that we want to have addressed. It's going to start on a local level. I don't think we can really depend upon the president or the senator, the congressman, the city council people. They play a part, but I'm thinking that if we can try it on the local level, start the conversation, dialogue, come up with some solutions together, I think that's going to be a start. Because again, the black community is not monolithic. It's
Yeah.
not all Democrats, not all Republicans, you know.
We all
But
different.
there's got to be something that we can all agree on,
Mm.
and that's where it starts.
It's action planning and going to the power step. We have to be in the rooms. We have to be at city council. We have to hold the people in our community accountable, and we have to tell them what we want. The reason why you're in office, because I need A, B, and C for my community. And, you know, we have to, those are the things that we have to do. It's a non-negotiable. We have to basically, like, you know, we make people do the things that we need them to do for our community. The reason we want banks here, if we want grocery stores, if we want better roads, if we want better schools and these opportunities for our children, we have to be the ones in the room telling people what we want and ensuring that those things happen. And that is a non-negotiable. It has to happen.
What are the consequences when we make these demands known that what we need? Now, we're not asking them to do the work, but we are asking them to clear the way. Let's not be naive that we're still operating in a system that is
Yeah, we have to.
systemically racist.
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
let's put it out there.
Yeah.
Just clear the way for us. We'll do the work. You see, these babies are at the point now where people have sat in Congress meetings and people have sat in local meetings and city council meetings and demanded certain things. And then, oh, well, we couldn't get the vote or the money didn't come through, the budget was short. So you can only do that to them so many times. Now, women are forgiving by nature.
Yeah, they are.
Women are
Especially
forgiving
black
by
women.
nature. Men have a line, and that's it. I've laid the line out here. If this is not where it's supposed to be, we've compromised enough. So with that being said, what can we do? We can relinquish things over to the millennials and say, look, we got to give you guys the reins. We trust you guys to handle it and go forward. But the talk in the barber shops, the talk at the mechanic shops and all these type of things is, hey man, I think it's about time that we show them that they desperately do need the black vote. And how do we do that, sir? Well, you withhold the black
Yes.
vote. See, one who can destroy a thing owns a thing.
Mm.
So let me show you how much you need my vote by turning it off. So I'll just turn it off and let's see how you fare. Now, if you fail and you don't come to the conclusion, wait a minute, I better turn my focus toward these people, because if they decide that that's a winning strategy, we may never get back in the White House. This is what you're dealing with here
Yeah.
with millennials. See, the big problem is they have access to so much information
Sometimes overload.
that we didn't have.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You had the encyclopedias at your house?
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. We have the internet.
Yo, they would drive to my house to use my encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right. That's what
Now these kids can sit up and put, well, what happened in 68 when they tried to do that? Oh, well, what happened in 72? Oh, this is why they feel time is running out. Look
Right.
at what has been happening.
So your solution was
No, my solution is turn the reins over to the young folks, let them have it. Give them as much information as you can. They have all the documented information. They have all of that. Tell them how you feel. This is how I felt about it when I was doing it. This is the mindset I had to use trying to do it. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be this. You have to tell all that. But then at the end of the day, you got to turn the reins over and go sit down and let them run it, right? But what I'm telling you is what's coming out of the barbershops is that we're going to have to directly confront the Democratic Party and show them that, well, you come here every 4 years, you come to the churches every 4 years to talk to us about it. And then when we come back to you about what we need, at the end of your 4 years, well, we really tried. And we tried to do it, but we just couldn't get in Congress. And what about your executive orders? But what about shutting down the government like they do? And let me say this before I close. You'll never be able to convince me that a Kentucky or a Tennessee or a West Virginia are able to get their initiatives passed through Joe Manchin and others
Yeah.
who will shut down the government, who
He
will
did.
withhold their vote
He did.
until they get what they want for their community.
We have to be tough.
You gotta
Right.
be
We
like,
have to be ruthless.
one thing I gotta
It's,
say.
I mean, that's just,
That-
that's it.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, there's your example. There's
That's
your
it.
example.
You got to make a quick point. You got to get to him.
Yeah.
Kick us out.
So just one quick point. I'm thinking that one thing, this might be another discussion.
Yeah.
Why put all our eggs in the Democratic Party? I think we got to play in both
play
arenas.
both.
You got to play both of them.
Yeah, because
I mean-
it would never be a consistent 20
Right.
years of a
You
Democrat,
have to-
a
yeah, we
consistent
got to
20
be
years
able
of
to have
Republican.
some kind of
Got to.
in
Yeah.
the Republican
Got
Party
to.
as well.
Yeah,
Besides
go
that,
ahead. We're
But
going to close.
Education is a big factor to me. I'm not even a teacher. I try to grab young men and mold them to be things and stuff. You ain't got to go to be a doctor. You could be a plumber. You could be this. In all our lives, I think our grandfather forced you got to learn this and do this and get an education. The cost of education is too much. One thing I was trying to do about 3 years ago, and I'll do it again, is present a bill to the state of Texas called congressional taxes. We got mega churches. If every mega church in the state of Texas gave $500 and it all went to education, that's not a church in nobody here that can't put $500 a year together, and it goes to education. It helps a lot of us and our kids afford to go. The old saying, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Mhm.
But how many shootings we done had in all these days in the last 3 weeks of school started?
Right.
If you're not careful, your mind will waste you.
Mhm.
And that's what's happening to our millennials now.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
It's
I wanna-
on us.
I want to keep on going, but we done
It's
ran
on
out of
us.
time.
Yeah, it's on
This
us.
is, please, this will not be the last time. Y'all hear from me.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to reach out. We're going to do this. And especially, like you said earlier, especially when the local elections are into
Oh,
place.
yeah.
Yes.
Because they need to know who the local rep is for their district and in their county so they can know who to go vote for and understand their policy.